women are looking for men, and we just want to let you know that in the Word it says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing. So ladies, we want you to be comfortable and happy in your singleness, but we also want to keep it real. So today we have Shalonda that is going to be sitting in with us, and she's going to be telling us about how she's dealing with being single and being holy. So, Shalonda, we want to talk to you today. We thank you for coming and joining LaDoyna and I. And we just want to just keep it real today. You know, we want to talk about you being in your singleness and you're walking the walk and you're doing your thing. So, how is it right now? I mean, are you feeling that you're at a point in your life where you want to be in a relationship, you're trying to have this relationship with God, or you're kind of okay where you are right now?
I'm at a point now in my life where I don't want to be in a relationship.
Right. Okay.
Simply because I just got out of a long-term relationship, and it never got to the point where I actually got married, but just engaged.
Right.
So I chose to take that path and just devote myself completely to God and not having anything else to distract me.
Right.
So I feel comfortable just being single right now.
Well, I like that a lot because I think that a lot of women get caught up in the I have to be married, especially the biological clock thing that's going on. And a lot of times when we let the biological clock interfere, we kind of end up with, you know, something that God didn't have for us, because we have to trust the fact that He's perfecting Him for us. And when we try to jump the gun, you know, we get something that kind of look like what He was working on, but that's not quite it. You know, and I'm speaking from experience, being there, done that. So, I mean, how are you feeling in the sense of, you have children, right?
4.
Okay, so you have children. So how is it, you have boys and one girl.
Right.
So how is it you, at this point, really being a single mom in your home, how is it that it's kind of like you want to have that father figure, especially with boys, it's harder.
Right.
So do you ever get in those moments where you feel like, oh my God, I need somebody because I need somebody here, you know, to be there with them, to, you know, because I'm not a man, you know, I've been in that situation as well.
Right.
With boys, and it's like, okay, I can teach you but so much because I'm not a man, and even though your father's not, you know, here physically in the home, it makes a difference when a man is present.
Right.
So how does that make you feel? I mean, as far as your singleness, and just because you say it's just me, you know, I'm good.
Right.
But when you look at the full spectrum, you know, the financial aspect, the home, the cutting grass, all that stuff, you know, then you don't want to get our nails all dirty and stuff. So how are you feeling on the full scope?
Basically, I don't try to take away that father figure from my kids. I'm still, you know, I still talk to him and everything for the fact that we do have children. So I would never like try to play that father figure in my children's life. I'm solely their mother, and I understand my position for that. But I do have 6 brothers. So anytime that anytime their father is not available, you know, I always can turn to my brothers to step in and say, I need you to do this for them. Or can you take the time out to take them this place or that place? So I'm very grateful to have, you know, so many brothers like I do.
Wow, that's a blessing. It's also kind of, I don't know, the next man might be like, how many brothers you said you had? That's a lot of brothers. A lot of brothers. Okay. Well, as far as your walk, how are you doing right now? As far as, it's kind of hard because I know at some point you want to be in a relationship. Do you feel that what you've gone through will kind of hinder it, or you have walls all over the place, or can you safely say, I have let that part of me go because I'm working on me and through that work, you know, maybe God can help those walls to fall so I can be open and receptive to what He may have for me in His time?
I'm not open to others right now. I've had guys come in my path where they wanted to talk to me, you know, exchange phone numbers or whatever, but just to have someone that I can say that's my man, I'm not ready for that.
Right.
I'm not ready for it, and I just try to stay focused as much as I can for the fact of my children and, you know, for the things that God has planned for me.
I agree with that. I know that me personally, your mindset has to change when it's just you, but when it changes to now that I have kids, and especially nowadays, it's boys or girls, it doesn't matter. And you have to be so mindful of not being selfish and knowing the person, really knowing the person. And it's even scarier when you know that you will never get to know anyone fully, but to see how this person is going to interact, you know, with my sons. And, you know, are they going to go and throw the football? Will they be at practice? And, you know, it's hard. It really is hard. So we just going to keep them in prayer. Because, you know, I've been divorced. And when I was divorced, I remember I dated this gentleman. I mean, he was fine. He was tall, dark, handsome, you know, all in the weight room every day. But he was so bougie, you know. I mean, everything was top of the line. Went to the best restaurants, the best this, the best that, nice car. But I've never been one that was so, you know, caught up into the materialistic things. You know, I was the girl that my mom always taught me to have my own. When you meet someone, you will compliment him.
Right.
You won't be sitting back saying, oh, I need him to do this for me, and I need him to do that for me, because I was always independent because of my mother.
Right.
But at the same time, it didn't take long into the relationship for me to say, well, wait a minute, you know, I can't even see him throwing a football with my sons. I mean, even though he looked the part, athletic, you know, you ask him to cut the grass, he's like, why don't you just pay somebody to do that? Well, I'm a country girl. I grew up on top of the roof cleaning out gutters, and, you know, you know, what happens if, you know, the money's gone and you can't afford to have somebody to come and cut the grass? And all those things I started looking at, because to me that means a lot to have a hard-working man. You know, there's a lot of men that, you know, and not to knock the ones that sit behind the desk, but if your desk job is gone, can you get out there and hustle and make it happen? You know, can you endure the hot sun if you end up in construction? You know, if the lawn man can't be paid, can you come and cut the grass and not have a fit, you know? And so being that I'm used to doing all those things, I always say, you know, they have to come at me on a spiritual level. You can't just come to me saying, I can buy you this, and I can buy you a new car. I had a car, I had a house, I had everything, only the man was missing. You know, but at the same time, my walk with God helped me to see, okay, this ain't quite right. You know, this is not quite right. And I asked God, if he is not the man for me, please move him. And he did exactly that. He just moved him so smooth that it wasn't even funny. He was like, well, what's wrong? Why are you not calling me? But I just told it just because I got to a point in my life that I don't have time to waste. You know, so I want God to show me immediately. If he's not it, he has to go. He
I
has to
think
go.
that's where I am now. As far as, like I mentioned, different guys have, you know, came to me or whatever, but I think my expectations are so high that I'm looking for something in particular, and because it's not there, it makes me want to pull back and say, I'm just going to just wait.
Right. And I know I was listening to the radio the other day, and I was listening to the young woman speak, and she was saying about a lot of us don't know how to just enjoy our singleness, and not just enjoy the singleness, but say, okay, Lord, I am, you know, God's leading lady. So how does a leading lady act? How does she carry herself? How does she present herself to others? What is she doing? And one of the examples that she used I thought was awesome. She was saying, when we sit back and we're depressed and we get the whole lonely, you know, I don't have a man, woe is me, I know women like that, I love y'all, but, you know, she said, look at the story of Ruth. Ruth was working. They lost her and her mother-in-law, they lost everything. Ruth and Naomi, they lost everything. But God strategically set her up, because even though she lost everything, she was willing to work. She was in the fields getting all sweaty and stank and everything else, but he put her in a rich man field. You know what I'm saying? That noticed her. She was being set up because she wasn't sitting back having a pig party. She was out working. And one of the things she said, if you have enough money to do what you need to do, to buy your own car, to get your own home, why are you sitting back waiting on a man to do it? You know, woman of God, leading lady, handle your business. You know, and so those are the things, you know, that I love. You know, I watched Juanita Bynum's No More Sheets years and years ago. And one of the things that always stuck with me is she said, you know, a lot of you women, you don't have this, you don't have that, you don't have that. You waiting on Johnny to come and give you this and give you that and pay your bills and buy your car and do this and do that. But what are you bringing to the table? You know, that struck me so strong, because that's how I was raised. But to see someone actually say it, you know, to the women, to the body, it was more profound. Even my mom used to say that to me. Have your own, you know, do your thing, you know, do this, go to school, do, you know, all those things. So I would just say I commend you, because I know you're doing great things, you know. You're doing great things, and, you know, we just got our new ride and all that stuff. You know, and you're doing things on your own, so I just want to say that I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you. So, Miss LaDuana, now I know you are married, but you're newly married,
Yes.
and you've been in church practically your whole life. So how was it with you in your walk, and as far as trying to maintain singleness and trying to live holy and doing the right things?
Well, with me, to keep it real, yes, I did grow up in church my whole life, so I knew the way, and it got to a point where it's like before I rededicated myself back to Christ, I didn't want to rededicate myself back to Christ because I still wanted to do what I wanted to do as far as dating, and I knew, okay, if I do this, I can't, if I rededicate myself, okay, I can't be with this person, or I can't, I had been, basically, I lost my virginity at, a senior in high school, so it's like, okay, this is going to be taken away from me, because then it was like something, to me, it was a part of me, because, for so long I had felt like I was missing something, so that was something that basically kept me. So it's like, for the longest, I did not rededicate myself, because I'm like, I don't want to have to deal with that, but when it got to the point where I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to just have to cut everybody off, it was hard for me, and, I was saved and rededicated, but yet I was one of the ones that was still doing my thing. I was still, because of, it was something that I felt like, you don't want to give up when you don't have anything else, or this person cares about me, or this person loves me, or, I'm not going to let them go just because they say, I can't do it or whatever. So it was something that I still chose to do. And being single, I guess I didn't have my mother there to, I'm going to just say, I've never been a materialistic type. I've never been with a guy for what he could do for me, because there was times where I worked 2 jobs. There were times where, I would get off one job and go straight to the other one, have a few hours of sleep, and then I'm up again. So it was never about what they could do for me. It was just about the comfort, and it was security, because I didn't have a mother to tell me, go get your own, but that's just how I was. My father instilled that in me, but yet my dad wasn't the type, to be like, well, he will always say, oh, you're beautiful, and you don't need a man, and you don't need this, but, that made me want to, for some reason, it pushed me the opposite direction. It made me want to, go be with a guy, and that may sound funny, to you, but that was just the direction and the path that I took. So, after a few months, I was, just basically trying to really straighten my walk out with God, and I was trying to, just love myself and not feel like I had to go elsewhere to get love from anybody. But it just got to a point again where it's like, okay, here it go again, and it's like I'm back in the same position, I'm back in the same boat, the Holy Spirit convicts you, because it's like you go to church and you're around people, and it's like you feel uncomfortable, because it's like they think that, oh, she's so, you don't want to say holy, but, you're portraying yourself to be something that, not to say that it's something that you aren't, but inside you're hiding this, and this is something that you you need deliverance from. But it's like, God, how do I break away from this? How do I really truly get delivered from this? Because it's like, yeah, I can go a month or 2 months or 3 months, and not do it. But, you see the same individual, and then sparks, you feel like sparks start flying.
It's a weakness.
Right.
And the enemy knows your weakness.
Right, and that was a weakness for me. When I found my husband, I was like, Lord Jesus, I'm keeping it real. I was like, Lord, how am I going to do this? So that was something, that was a fight, and I'm not even going to sit here and say we didn't, slip, because there was a time that we did slip, but it wasn't, multiple times. But then it's